Hey guys, what's up and welcome. It's Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer from South Africa. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Coded Design, where I teach coding and user interface design. This is going to be an awesome video, okay? Why this is going to be an awesome video? Simply because I am going to explain to you in details with practical demonstration software architecture. Maybe you might have heard about the word, and maybe just like me, you did a Google search, and this is what you are going to get. Whenever you search software architecture, this is what you get, okay? You get things like 12 common software architectural styles and whatever. And you will get these diagrams, okay? These diagrams are useful, of course, yes. But, okay, whenever you look at these diagrams as a Next.js developer, let's say you are working on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript trying to solve a certain problem, okay? Whenever you look at these diagrams, you don't understand them. Okay. Number two, you don't relate to what's going on. For instance, let's say you just want to create a web application. Okay. Let's say. And then let's just quickly read here query model. Obviously, I'm not sure what that is. Change notification model, update model. Look, I want to create an application. Okay. A web application. Okay. I don't know how these are going to help me to create the application. I hope now we are starting to see the challenge here. So if you are just like me, you've been looking at different images of software architecture and different explanations, okay? But you always feel like you really don't understand what these guys are talking about. The reason is, okay, architecture here, it's being explained, let me use the word, on a higher level. That is not even necessary for you, okay? A level that you might not even, maybe you might not even need for the rest of your life. That's how I think, okay? Let me give you the explanation. Here they are explaining architecture on an enterprise level. Okay, this type of architecture makes sense to the big giants in the game or the big dogs. Companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, Dropbox. I hope you get that. Those engineers there, maybe they understand this and it's meaningful to them. Remember, I'm not saying that this information is useless or even less in use. Please, I hope you could understand that. But I'm just trying to say, what is the use of explaining what can I say, physics or calculus or differential calculus to a preschool kid? Okay, it won't be of any use to the kid. Okay, the kid, based on his or her own age, the only thing that they want is wheels on the bus goes round and round, round and round. It makes sense to them. They can understand you if you can sing to them that, okay? Not teach them. Teaching, it's something that is not within their consciousness and they hate it, okay? So let's take that into perspective. Whenever you architecture is being explained to you, it is explained in this level, okay? So I am going to explain architecture to you as if I'm singing wheels on the bus goes round and round, and they go round and round in a level that you are going to understand. So how am I going to do that? I am going to touch based on let me say physics, okay, space and time, and try to explain to you the how space and time behaves, since I believe that you will relate to space and time because you are experiencing time, okay? You will relate to it. And I'm going to take that knowledge, okay? Without these TCP, IP, broker, really, guys, let's say I want to create this application. I really don't understand how is this going to help me? Is this useful? Yes, but based on my knowledge and the problem that I'm trying to solve, I'm creating an accounting system, okay? I don't know how. this is going to help me. So as you can see, guys, here it's the matter of levels. Okay, the challenge is in the industry today, there is no one who's explaining architecture in a level that me and you can understand. And in this video, I am going to do that, and you will it will feel like I'm singing Wheels on the Bus goes round and round, and it goes round and round. Why? Simply because I went through all the struggle of trying to understand architecture, and I really didn't understand it. And when I'm create when I was creating my own applications, I started to see some patterns forming, and architecture was a bit simpler for me, and I had a perspective on architecture. So without wasting time, let's just jump straight into it. In case you might want to follow this series, okay? It started here, okay? My SaaS tech startup and how I did it. In case you still don't understand that, we've got first video and a second video. I've got an accounting system, okay? I'm creating my own tech startup. It's an accounting system. I will demonstrate it a little bit on how it works, but basically I'm creating my own accounting system. So what I'm doing now, I'm taking the entire application, going through it line by line of code, explaining myself, my intelligence, what I was thinking, the thought process, everything that you will never get from uh, a YouTube clone or a Dropbox clone, a Next.js e-commerce clone. All those things that you'll never get it from there. I am going to explain those things. So as you can see, guys, I will demonstrate this later. So without wasting time, let's get into software architecture. So let's first get into the problem that maybe you might also be into, okay? Everything about software architecture on the internet doesn't make sense. Is it the right word to say it doesn't make sense? It looks like now I'm being harsh. We don't understand it. So if I don't understand it, it doesn't mean it doesn't make sense, okay? It's very important um, to mark or to take note of what you say. Okay, I think I was wrong there. Okay, everything on the internet about architecture, it's not easy to understand. It makes sense to some people, but to us as freelancers and Next.js or React developers, it's not easy for us to understand. I think that's the best way. So let's get into that. So as you can see, guys, I've explained into this diagram that really, if I want to create a web application, I don't really know how could I implement this. Okay, it's our fault, we don't know. Okay, so let's get into the definition of what software architecture is. Okay, and then I will tell you why we are struggling to understand architecture this way, and then from then I'm going to explain architecture my way. I believe you are going to understand it like from the get-go, okay? You won't need some bombastic word or certain jargon or whatever to explain and understand architecture. So let's hear what this guy is saying. Software architecture is the process of defining higher level structure and organization of software systems, okay? It involves identifying and selecting the right components, deciding how they will interact with each other, and determining how they should be organized to achieve a specific goal. The goal of software architecture is to create a maintainable, scalable, and secure system that meets the needs of the user and the organization. Okay. Obviously, it's beautiful English indeed. It's plain simple. It's something that I think even me, okay, I can some sort of understand the English, okay? But do I really understand what they mean, okay? Because they are trying to convey a certain message, okay? Do I understand what they mean? I'm not sure about you, but I'm honest. I really don't really get what they mean, okay? Okay, so obviously, guys, feel free to go to the internet and search for anything around software architecture. You will always get definitions like these, okay? That us as the, what can I say, as the young guys, okay, we don't really understand, okay? This makes sense to enterprise guys, okay, guys who are working at Google and Microsoft, but to us, I just want to build MVP. Okay. So let's continue. So I'm trying to say, feel free to go to the internet and check all these definitions. You will see that you don't really understand them. So let me just quickly browse through these. Okay. As you can see, client server. Okay. Layering. Okay. Pipes and filters. Master and slave. So as you can see, guys, it's not easy for us to really understand what are these guys talking about. Now, let's get into them like a different way of looking at architecture. So I'm inviting you to my own what can I say, mind, okay, to my own universe, okay, how I look at architecture, okay, in a way that it's going to be a bit simpler. So, in order for us to do that, let's just look at space and time. Okay, I know these topic like space and time, gravity, and theory of relativity. Usually, they are a bit complex. Okay, I'm not going to dive deep into its complexities, but I want to establish a home ground for me and you. Okay, so that when we transition into demonstrating to you how I created this application and what is going on here, at least you can understand. And I'm hoping in the end you can some sort of use the knowledge gained to some sort of improve your code and how you do things. Okay. I don't want to explain to you 12 common architectural patterns that when I'm done explaining, let's say, as you can see, this is a lot of things to explain, and you will ask me, what did you just said? Okay, because I always ask that question when somebody is explaining to me architecture, okay, because it was not easy to understand. So let's go back to space and time, okay. I am not going to dive deep into space and time the way maybe let's say what can I say, was this guy Einstein was trying to understand everything, or the Newtonian way like say Isaac Newton. No, okay. What I'm going to talk about here, it's very, 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 very simple, okay? We've got space, okay? That means a room or some sort of an area to occupy. Let's say this box, this image, okay, as you can see, this image, it's a space, okay? As you can see, it's like an area, okay, for us to occupy. We've got space. At the same time, we've got time, okay, we've got space, we've got time. So my angle here is I want you to think about space and time in this way. Which one comes first? Okay, is it space or time? Obviously at this moment in time I'm a bit general and I'm still too far. Don't worry, I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to open the door and invite you into what's going on in my crazy, stupid little mind. Okay, so we've got space and time. Let's say I am traveling from this side, from the bottom edge to the top edge. Okay, that means I'm occupying this space, right? Yes, but at the same time, I'm experiencing time. Let's say I started working at 8 o'clock. And then when I reached this site, it was 9 o'clock. So it took me an hour to travel from this side to this side, right? Simple. So basically, that's my own some sort of concept of space and time, or the concept that will help us to understand software architecture. Okay, cool. So that means that we've got this space and we've got this time. So the question that I have for you guys is, does the time exist because there is a space, okay, for me to occupy? As a result, I am measuring how long do I take to travel through this space. Does time exist as a consequence of that? Okay, because I am traveling from here, because I'm occupying space, traveling from here to here, I need then to measure how long, okay, not the distance necessarily, but how long did I take? So meaning that we can say that we can argue that time exists because I am occupying space. Of course, it makes a lot of sense, guys, okay? Besides, without that, what would be the use of time if you are not occupying space? If you are not going to say, it took me 30 minutes to do this, okay? Or it's 4:15, okay? Based on something, okay, relative to something, okay? I hope you do get that. But at the same time, guys, we can again argue, okay, the first statement says time exists because there is a space, okay? That's why it exists. Okay, as a consequence of that, you get time. But again, I can argue that, okay, or we can argue that as I am traveling or yes, passing or traveling, occupying space, meaning that at 8 o'clock here, occupying this space, okay, as I'm experiencing occupying this space, it's not like I'm creating time, okay? It's not like I'm inventing it. It's not like that's the inception of time, or if that's a proper word, okay? But I am riding, or I am riding on a wave that is already there, which is time. And what that wave might be, in a way that we are going to understand, it's the tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Okay, I hope you understand. So as I am occupying space, the tick tock was already there. It's such that I am choosing to use it now, but it was already there. So meaning that time was already there. Okay, it was already moving forward. Okay, meaning that whether I have traveled or I have not traveled, it was going to be 8 o'clock, and after an hour, it was going to be 9 o'clock. Okay, so as you can see, guys, now we are caught up into some sort of two different views. Okay, please, guys, note that, and also I think I'm catching flu, so if my voice is changing or it's a little bit weird, so please understand that. So I was saying, please note, guys, okay, this is not a science or a physics class, okay? Don't take these arguments and these statements as like some sort of the way Newton or Sir Isaac will take them, okay? Please, because I'm not a scientist, I'm not a physicist. I don't even think I'm a developer and a designer. I think I'm just me, okay? That's why I relate to you. I'm just me, okay? So don't take this as if maybe I'm trying to be an intelligent guy talking to you about things that you are not going to understand. No, that's not the case, okay? But I want to some sort of bring you to where I am, okay, to how I see things, so that when I'm explaining software architecture to you, at least you can understand so that it can be easier, okay? So some of the things that I'm saying here scientifically maybe might not make sense. Maybe Newton and Galileo might disagree with me completely. They might say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Believe me, I will agree with them. I will tell them, look, I don't know what I'm talking about because this is not a science class. Okay, I want to explain architecture. Enough about that. Let's continue, guys. So as you can see, guys, as we are trying to look at this space and time problem in different angles, we are starting to land into the chicken and an egg situation. Which one came first? Was it a chicken or an egg? So, if you have managed to understand that chicken and an egg problem, then I think you are on the right path, or on the right space, or what can I say? We are on the same page. Okay, you are about to clearly understand me when I'm explaining to you software architecture in a way that you can implement it. We've got space and we've got time. I am occupying space. As I'm occupying space, okay, I measure how long did it take, okay, but that doesn't mean that the space creates time, okay. Looks like time was already there, ticking, okay, whether I was moving or I was not moving, it was already there. But then the last question is, what is the use of time without space? If you are not here to perceive time, you don't exist, like somebody who's unborn. Is time useful, or does the concept of time make sense? If you are not born, you are not here to even comprehend that time. So as you can see, guys, that's the idea of the chicken and an egg kind of a thing. So now let's move to software architecture. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I know that some people, this is their first time to my channel. Welcome. I am Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer from South Africa. If you can do me a favor and subscribe or like or share or comment, that adds value to me, and I am thanking you for that. Okay, so maybe it's your first time, so you didn't look at these videos. Okay, I am going to do a very quick demonstration of the application. Okay, I'm not going to get into details. If you might want the details, please come and check this video number 1 here. I am demonstrating it like in detail. The reason why I'm demonstrating it here, it's because I want to establish context, okay? Because if I don't show you something, okay, I'm not helping your mind to some sort of glue all these pieces together. Remember, we started with the theories of relativity, space and time, Mars and galaxies, and now we are transitioning into coding or some sort of JavaScript or whatever, okay? So I want you to some sort of um glue these pieces together nicely. So it's very important to establish the context. I want you to see what the application does, okay? So the application has got light and dark theme. Okay, as you can see, light and dark theme, you can log in and you can log out. So basically here, this system, it's for creating quotations, okay? So let's just quickly add an item here. Let's say I'm selling a cake, okay? Or let's say cupcake, okay? Okay, cupcake is this product. Yes, it's active. I don't know why this is. Okay, more about that later. Okay, quantity. Okay, and then amount. Let's say it's 20 rand. I'm in South Africa. I'm using rands. Okay, and then let's say just a cupcake. Okay, because I don't want this to take much of my time. Okay, so if we have added cupcake, it means that we can go and make a quotation. Let's say somebody wants to order cupcakes. Okay, so what's that somebody? We can even add that client if we want to, but for now, let's use the one that is already here. So as you can see, guys, we've got cupcake here. You can search cupcake and then click here. Okay, here's the description, just a cupcake. And then how many? Let's say this guy really loves cupcakes. Okay, let's say he bought like 15, okay? And then that will be equal to 300 in total. Now let's create the quotation. Okay, now we are creating quotation. Quotation has been created successfully. Let's go to quotations and then let's check, do we have a quotation that has got a cupcake? Okay, so now in these quotations, how am I going to see which is the one that I did? At least we know that that one was like 300, okay? So as you can see, here is it, guys, okay? Quotation and it's 300. It has got a quotation code. And then from here, I can click on chat. Chatting, it's when I want to leave some note on that quotation for somebody else. Let's say we are working as a team and I want somebody else to do something on this code. Let me just type here, please work on this code. As you can see, guys, I'm just demonstrating. So in real life, you will really write something meaningful. Maybe at so and so, let's say at Matthew. Okay, as you can see, so this is a little bit more meaningful, and then you will save this. So these chats will be under that quotation specifically. Somebody else might come and type here well received or well received and whatever. Okay, so that is it, guys. My demonstration is going to end there. Okay, I'm not going to dive deep into it. If maybe you want to dive deep, please come and check here. Okay, so I hope now you have some sort of an idea of what this application does back into architecture. Okay, so when you create an application, you have to some sort of think about it, you have to plan, and you have to some sort of execute. Okay, so when you are thinking about it, okay, it starts from what technology am I going to use? Okay, what technology? Let's say, am I going to use PHP? Am I going to use React? Am I going to use Next.js? And then, what will be some sort of my app tech stack? Okay, am I going to use React Hook Form, React Query? Am I going to use whatever? Okay, so how are these components going to communicate with each other? Okay, so based on that thinking and that planning, okay, you might be efficient. Your code might be easy even for you to read. I think in this video I'm dealing with here, I'm talking about the folder structure. Okay, so also this video, it's some sort of uh, a, a, a best or a best reference, okay, for what I'm talking about. So based on that planning and thinking, okay, that will determine, is your code easy to understand? Is it easy even for you to recall, like 2 weeks from now? Do you understand what you were doing? Based on how you have planned and how you have pieced, how you have managed to glue all these pieces together. Okay, so it's going to help you to be efficient. It's going to help you to scale. Okay, for instance, if I'm creating a car that is not going to, what can I say? Not going to take a carriage. Okay, it's not going to take any carriage. So it means that it's not extensible. So if I want to maybe take a carriage or a trailer, sorry, okay, if I want to go take a trailer, that means I can't go with a trailer because the car has been designed not to take the trailer. So as you can see, depending on how you think, design, and plan this application, okay, you might scale, you might not scale. You might evolve, you might not evolve. You might upgrade, you might not upgrade. I hope you get the concept, okay? So also at the same time, depending on how you've planned this application, people might understand your code. People might feel like your code is stressful, okay? It's stressing, okay? Meaning that I have to move up and down a lot to see how things are, okay? Depending on how you have structured your code, users, people who are going to use the application, okay, they might feel like, I really don't understand this, okay, this doesn't make sense to me, and they might put some wrong data and so where am I going with this? It looks like to me this planning is important. Remember, I'm not talking about coding, okay? As you can see, I didn't say anything about declaration and okay, I didn't talk anything about this. I'm just talking about the importance of this planning. So view this planning as space, okay? Because this is where we build from. If we don't have space, we don't even exist. There's no space for us to occupy. So think of this planning as space. And this space, in this context, we can call it architecture. Why do you call this planning architecture? Why don't you call it architecture? Isn't this complicated, sophisticated diagrams and for me, guys, that's not the case. Architecture, it's the thinking, the planning, the design. It's more like art, if I can be honest, than intelligence. Okay, it's more like art. Okay, it must be beautiful. Okay, for instance, if I can go to somebody else's code for the first time, look at the structure, and feel like I think I understand and I know what's going on. When I get into a certain module or a certain file, and when I look at the code, I feel like this is self explanatory. This is beautiful. Okay? Remember, I'm not talking about is it working? No. I'm talking about how beautiful it is. Okay. Hence, I'm saying architecture, it's more like art to me than the science. Okay. Or maybe it's the science of an art or the art of the science. I don't know. But it's that beautiful. Okay. So that's why I don't view it as complicated as this one. Of course, a guy who's working at Amazon, on Google engineer, they might understand these things. So, what's the use of us trying to force ourselves into the definition of architecture that is not working for us? Okay, not working in the sense that it's useless, but based on where we are in terms of our careers, we are not dealing with these things in our own work, in our own private jobs, in whatever. We are not dealing with these, okay? So, trying to crack our brains with these sort of explanation is not going to take us anywhere, okay? So, think of that planning, designing, thinking about your application as architecture. In terms of space and time, think of it as a space for you to build from. Without the space, you cannot build. So let's go back to the chicken and an egg problem. It then looks like to me architecture is the application because it carries a lot of goodies. Okay, what do I mean by that? If you've got the architecture right, even a 3-year-old kid can maintain your application. If the 3-year-old can't maintain your application, it has been poorly architectured. It takes time to understand. It takes time for you to explain it, to explain your code to somebody else. It takes time to maintain it. It takes time to change it. Okay? It's like if it's poorly architectured, now it seems like the poor architecture nullifies the existence of the application. So, meaning that if you could be terrible, let's say terrible, passionately terrible on architecturing applications, that means there will come a point whereby somebody might say, don't even create the application. So, just like space, it looks like it gives birth to time. Okay, it looks like architecture gives birth to application. So if somebody said, can you create an e-commerce application for me? I think there is another way of saying that. Can you create a beautiful architecture for me that might assist me or that might help me experience e-commerce? I hope you get that. Okay, maybe the English might not be the exact English. Okay, remember this is not an English class. Okay, so please forgive me about that. Okay, so it might be an English class. So I'm trying to say my English might not be that perfect, but I hope you get the idea of what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm saying I lost my own thought process. Now I don't know what I was saying. Okay, let me think. But anyway, it's fine. Even if I've lost what I was saying, I can continue. Okay. So what I'm trying to say, guys, it looks like to me, I can say create an architecture for me to help me, me and the users to experience the e-commerce or buying and selling of goods online. Not create the application, no, create the architecture because architecture is the application, it looks like. But then again, if we really think about it, okay, if we really think about it, when we get into the actual um implementation, okay, there are some certain pieces that you are going to use in your own architecture, okay. You can choose these pieces. I'm going to use React Query, I'm going to use whatever, but their nature at the same time they play a big role into the architecture. Their nature, they play a big role into the collapse and the failing of the architecture. Let's say you have chosen two things that don't go hand in hand. Okay, you've chosen, but they don't fit in together perfectly. All of a sudden, your architecture now, or your structure, it's not rigid based on what you have chosen. Okay, maybe that's why some tall buildings collapse sometimes. Okay, it's the matter of not the architecture, because the building has been maybe properly architectured, but a proper structure or a proper architecture with cheap material, still it doesn't make it. I think it's more dangerous, okay? Because imagine trying to build a tall building, okay, without the proper what can I say, tools, or the proper equipment or apparatus or whatever. Like, instead of using iron, you have used wood. Instead of using cement, you have used a shoe glue. The architecture, the structure, the design, and the planning and the thinking is proper, but the material that has been used, now it nullifies the architecture, it renders the architecture useless. Then again, we've landed into the chicken and an egg situation. Is it the tech stack, or is it the architecture? I don't have a solution for that. I don't have an answer for that. Okay. That's why I am here. I'm inviting you into my confusion. I want to take you through the journey of understanding architecture according to my own way. Okay. In a way that you are going to understand it. Okay. Sorry guys. I think there's this room. My apologies about that. It's a bit dusty, okay? Unfortunately, I've already settled, but I can see that what can I say? My nose, I've got a blocked nose now, okay? When I entered the room, I didn't really have a blocked nose, okay? Obviously, I've got a little bit of flu, but I think this room is making it worse. So guys, please understand, okay? I don't want to lose track of what I was saying and move to a different location. So please bear with me, okay? So as you can see, guys, so now, if we can take this into filming, because also I did films, okay, in my youth, okay, writing script, okay. Um, Best movies, or one of the best movies that I have ever watched, okay, they have been very brilliant in structuring like the story, in a way that that makes us as human being questions a lot of things about us. Okay, concepts like does the means justify the ends, or the ends justify the means? Okay, is it best for me to go and rob a bank because I want to, what can I say, I want to save my kid from dying, maybe of a certain disease? Okay, is it the right thing to do to go and rob a bank? Maybe in that I might kill someone. Okay, but because of my kid is ill, and for some reason the society treat me differently, as if I'm a poor man, and they don't want to look at me. I've tried to ask for help. They have helped other people and they didn't help me. As a result, I started to be angry and I decided to fight the system. We understand that. But are you doing the right thing by robbing the bank? Okay, because your kid is sick. So do you see that this chicken and an egg situation, it's quite interesting. It goes beyond architecture, space and time, and whatever. Okay, so with that being said, guys, for me, okay, for me, I think if you can search here, there's a guy that is not a guy. I'm not sure if that's the right word to say somebody's a guy, whereas he's older than you. I think this one, this is where the Western and the African culture, we differ a little bit. Okay, I think I could enjoy being Western, okay, because being Western, you guys are okay. The Western people, they are cool about a lot of things. To us as African, I cannot refer to my father or to an elder as a guy, okay? Hence, I'm saying now, I'm not sure if I must refer to this person as a guy, or let's say a gentleman, okay? I want to search systems thinking. Yes, systems thinking. Systems thinking. Okay. There is a gentleman here. Um, I think here's him. Here's him. I think this is him. Okay, I think this is him. This one. This one. This is him. Okay. I've been watching a lot of videos for this guy. I think it's just Dr. Russell. Yes, it's Dr. Russell. Okay, I've been watching a lot of his videos. Okay. What got me a different perspective on architecture? It's one of his videos. I think it's this one. Okay, it's one of his way of explaining systems thinking. Okay, sorry about that. So let's see how his my nose. My apologies about that. So let's see how this guy's thinking can help us, which is systems thinking. Okay, this guy argues that um if you can have, let's say, the best car parts, an engine from Ferrari, the wheels from a Mercedes Benz. I'm not sure. I don't know much about cars. Maybe a wheel caps from a Caterpillar or a truck, okay, a dump truck. He's asking, would you get a perfect car? He goes on to say, no, okay? He goes on to say that even if you can have the best tools, that doesn't mean you are going to come up with the best product, okay? Simply because as much as the system is extremely dependent or is its constituents, but at the same time, it is an entity unto itself. So don't zoom in to the constituents thinking that if you got the best tools or the best ingredient, you are going to come up with the best meal. This guy is saying, no, that's wrong. That's the worst way of looking at designing systems. Okay, systems thinking, it's about the totality at the same time. Okay, meaning that these can form a perfect harmonious system if those pieces work well together. Together. Okay, so once I heard that, it was clear to me that architecture doesn't exist outside its components. So, according to me, as much as architecture, it's like thinking, planning, and then telling the engineers and the coders this is what they are going to do. To me, I think it's a bit different, or there is a different way to think about it instead of thinking about it that way. I think if we think about it that way, we are thinking about it maybe one dimensionally, okay? I think this is some sort of two-dimensional, okay? So as much as we can have a plan, a beautiful plan, beautiful, what can I say, link, beautiful flow of data and whatever, well planned, okay? We need to take note of the pieces that makes up the actual product or system or application, okay? So where am I going with this? In the previous arguments, we've been trying to push to the extremes, okay? Is it space? Is it time? Is it the means or an end? Is it what I do to get there, or is it about getting there anyway? Is it fair for me to crush anyone so that I can get into the top? Or maybe I might lose the prize to be number one and help others. As you can see, guys, we want to get into the extreme. Is it architecture, or is it the tech? Okay, is it the technology, or is it the architecture? So as you can see, we are trying to some sort of move to the extremes. And now I'm saying architecture It's not the planning, the systems, and the design only. Okay? How these pieces are going to fit in together, it's also important. And to me, that makes a beautiful architecture. If you've architected something and the engine can't goes on because these pieces don't fit very well together, to me, you have failed. So I hope now you do understand, or at least now you do understand where I'm coming from. Okay, it's not about you planning only, but it's about you planning and understanding how this system, the tech, is going to fit in very well together. With that being said, let's get into my architecture. Obviously, it's going to be some sort of a higher level. Okay, it's I'm trying to say I'm not going to dive deep in it, but I'm going to make whatever that I've just said practical in terms of code. Okay, so let's do what? Let's add a we can add ways quotations. Let's add a client first. Okay, let's add a client. My apologies about that. So let's look at the client at the process of adding client and how can explain to you the architecture behind. Okay, so we've got a form here. Okay, we've got a form here. According to me, uh, behind the scene, this uses a React hook form. That is a piece of technology. So what must you look for in what I'm demonstrating now? Look for how is this piece of technology fitting into the entire system? Okay, how does it fit into the entire system? And how does the entire system, support this piece of technology? If you can think about architecture in that way, you won't need complex diagram. Okay, you will understand how it works. If you can master that, then you are going to some sort of design, think, and plan scalable, highly maintainable applications. Okay, so I'm adding a client. What type of this? This guy is an individual. Client name and the contact person, it's still me. Okay, Matthew, and the contact number 073 123 blah blah blah, and the email it's mt@gmail.com. Okay, in case you might want to learn more from me, or you want to some sort of take this to a deeper level. Okay, you can check the link in the description below. I've got the links to my Udemy courses. Apologies about that. This is me. Okay, Matthew Msingati. Okay, Msingati, it's my African name. It's a Xhosa name. Okay, in case you don't understand my language or the Xhosas, if you know Trevor Noah, I believe he's a Xhosa guy, or his mom is Xhosa. Okay, that's my language. So what does this Msingati mean? This means to comfort. I hope at least I'm close to that. Okay, so enough about me, guys. Okay, so sometimes I try, sometimes I just push myself into the middle of conversation, since I just want to feel important. When you have not done much in life, you always want to talk about yourself. Okay, so please forgive me and understand. Okay, so enough about that, guys. I've got some two courses here: React Advanced Component Composition, and also I've got Next.js, Shadcn, and UI TypeScript. Okay, in case you don't have money to support me, I do understand that, but please click the link nevertheless. Remember, it's not about the money. Okay, it's not about the price. As I've said before, it's not about the price, it's not about the monetary value, but it's about the experience. Okay, it's about the way to there, or as in mathematics. Okay, it's about the way to an answer. In mathematics, you don't just get like x is equal to 4. We want to know how you got there. So even if you might not have the money to support, come and click one of these courses. Here is the reason. Most of my courses, I've structured them in such a way that they have got 70% of content for free. So meaning that you can get in here and get like 70% worth of knowledge, content, and videos for free. I only reserve almost like 30%, okay, or maybe sometimes 40, okay, but I know I've got 50% plus of content here for free, okay. So in case you are in a position to support, please guys, you can come here and support me. Enough about me. I don't think I'm that important. That's why I always push myself in between of different or conversations or topic. Okay, guys, let's get back to the matter at hand. We are adding a client here, right? Yes. Now let's observe what will happen, and then how the how I have glued all these pieces together. Okay, it's like we're going to move from code to architecture, code to structure, code to design, code to thinking. Okay, so let's just get to the network. Network. Okay, let's see what will happen here. So when I'm adding, as you can see, there is form add client endpoint. Okay. So I've mentioned React Hook form. Okay, cool. At the same time, this toast is from ShaDCN. That's another tech stack. So there is a relationship between React Hook form and ShaDCN. Okay, but it's not direct. Okay, between React Hook form and ShaDCN toast. Okay, there is React query. Okay, 10 stack query or React query. Okay, so it is the React query that some sort of update, okay, the toast that now you need to pop up because the form has finished doing whatever it was doing. Okay, so React query, what can I say? React query does what to Prisma? Okay, it does what to Prisma? Prisma is helping us to communicate with the database. Yes, so React query through a fetch mechanism, okay, through a fetch mechanism, um, communicates with Prisma, okay, through the fetch mechanism, and Prisma will communicate with the database, okay. Obviously, I'm running a server here, which is XAMPP, okay, so it will communicate with the database, okay. So why am I doing this or saying this? I am trying to move from one piece of the system and how it relates to the other. If there is an intermediary, let's some sort of involve that and talk about that with the React query. And then what does the React query do, or where does it takes the information? It communicates with Prisma, and then Prisma would communicate with the database. Obviously, it's complex than that. There is a lot involved, but what I'm trying to teach you is there are pieces of technologies that needs to be arranged, not coded, not thinking, not solving a problem. That needs to be arranged in a certain way. That arrangement, thinking, and planning and placement, it's architecture. But at the same time, don't isolate architecture from its components, its building blocks, and its behavior. Okay, how does React Hook form behave affect the entire architecture? Because it might be useless. Your time might be in vain thinking, designing, and planning the building. Okay, when you are going to build it with wood and straws, the architecture collapses, or that time spent there goes to the drain. So I hope you get that. So let's see. And also, if you might have noticed here, there was a loading spinner here, a loading indicator. Okay, so let's check what are the results. As you can see, guys, we've got the new client. Here's client ID, client name, and blah, blah, blah. So let me just go to database. Okay, so here I'm just going to show you that this is the MySQL database. We've got some tables and we have managed to add a new client. Okay, so meanwhile this is loading, let's go back to the code. Okay, now that I have spoke about architecture, I think it's the right time for me to talk about the tech stack, okay, as you know it in the industry today, and the best stack. Okay, I've just realized that there is a tech stack, and most developers they are all about a tech stack. Okay, what technology have you used? Do you Next.js or what or whatever? As I'm gaining experience, I'm starting to realize that there is another type of stack which is more important than a tech stack, and it's the best stack. So it's not about the tech stack. If I'm using React Query, it might not work for you, or for your the problem that you are trying to solve might not be solved with React Query. So if you are tech stack obsessed or you are obsessed with tech stack, you might know a lot of technologies that you can orchestrate, okay, well to solve a problem. So if you can have pieces of technologies that you understand and master, and with them you can solve a problem, then according to me, that is no longer a tech stack, that is a best stack, because these pieces of technologies that you have, they fit well or they best serve or solve the problem. So that is the best stack. So it's not about just picking pieces of technologies, because Matthew spoke about React Query, let me use it. You need to understand what it is so that you can bend it and customize it to your own liking. So what makes a beautiful architecture, it's that knowledge, bending your pieces of technologies, just like a musician when they are blowing their trumpet or playing a guitar or whatever, a piano, something. Okay. So what makes a beautiful architecture? It's the knowledge. Okay. It's that weaving. Okay, of these pieces to work together. So now I'm about to close. Okay. I am going to show you how I have woven these pieces together. Okay. So in between React, is it not React Query? React Hook Form and my application, okay, I created a library, okay, that makes things easier for me, and I call it Met Forms, okay. It makes things easier for me. Since this video is not about Met Forms, I'm not going to explain much about it, okay. So, and also in terms of fetching data, I just realized as I'm working, I always fetch data, okay? I decided to create another package or some sort of a library or a tool which I call it Met Fetch, okay? It helps me to fetch data from the API. It's like the Met Fetch has got some method which is create, read, update, and delete. So I just get those method and use them instead of using fetch and then dot await async. I don't do that. So as you can see that because of some of the pieces of technologies, okay, they don't fit very well, okay, or they don't work very well when I combine them to solve my problem. So sometimes I need adapters, I need extensions. Sorry. So I need extensions, okay, for me to quickly build a package that is going to be in between two packages so that I can have the best stack. Okay. I think I would like to assume that's how things are done in the industry, even though I have not worked for Amazon or Google or Facebook, but I think basically that's how things are done. Okay. At some point, you create new technologies in trying to help you solve the problem that you have. And those technologies in bigger companies, they end up being open source projects, and we benefit from them, just like Facebook and React. Okay, so enough about that. Let's get into it. So I must go to this at client. Okay, so I'm going to get into this module, and I'm going to explain whatever that I'm explaining according to this module. So let me go to my root, dashboard, clients, form add client. Okay, so let's see. Now we are diving deep into the architecture. Okay, remember why I'm saying this is architecture. Somebody might feel like, now, Matthew, you are getting into the code. So now this is no longer architecture. This is practically and technically the implementation. Okay, you are typing the code. No, 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 no. I'm still working on the structure. Okay, I'm still working on the beauty of architecture, designing, placing things in a certain way. Okay, or in a certain place. Okay, for efficiency. So that's architecture basically. I've got a high order component. Okay, the high order component is with utilities. This high order component contains a lot of goodies for me not to always type these goodies. I can just use them. Okay, so this component called original form, okay, it's just a form that doesn't have the modules. Okay, you will see on the code, these modules are not here. Okay, but this form, it's using those modules, those dependencies, it's using them. So I have prepared everything that I will need, and I have pushed it in with utilities. So before I use this component, I must push it through inside with utilities so that it can come out here as form add item. And I am wrong, I'm in the wrong place. In client, I've got form add item. Let's see, maybe the copying and pasting of a code made this. Let's see, am I dealing with, let me check my endpoint. The endpoint will tell me, as you can see, guys, okay? The endpoint is telling me that I am pointing to form add client, okay? So this doesn't add much value. No, sorry. I'm trying to say this really doesn't add much. It's easy to change it, guys, because I'm declaring it here, I'm changing it here. So I can, maybe I have copied this from form add item and then copy and paste to this one. So I can say form add client instead. I'm not going to change a lot of things, as you can see. If I can change it also here, and then we're done, problem solved. Okay, my apologies about that. So where was I think I'm getting old. Okay, but let's see. So I've got a high order component here that supplies me with everything. So in this code, we don't have the method for fetching data and doing a lot of things. Those methods are here. But this guy, when it gets in here, it will come back as form client with all those methods. So is this coding or what? This is architecture. Okay, I'm not talking about coding here. And remember, if you want to know, to be aware or to notice if you are in coding, like, or in architecture, okay, it's when you are talking about something and don't care much about how it works, then that means that is architecture. Because if we're talking about the actual implementation and coding, you need to know how and how is it going to work. So I've got with utilities. I don't care how with utilities gather all the utilities. I don't care. What I know is this original form, this component original form is expecting the goodies. So as you can see, we've got with original form, it's expecting the goodies. Here is a type of these goodies, utility props. Okay. So as you can see, where do I get all my utilities? Const, okay, these are my utilities: create, toast, user ID, image reset, object form data, and all and all. We are getting these from utilities. We are getting these from utilities, and utilities is some sort of a prop. Okay, it will be injected there by this guy. Okay, cool. This is still architecture. Okay, so let's see. Why do you say, Matthew, your high order component that supply you with all these utilities, it's architecture? Okay. Point one, I think this is easy to understand. Point number two, this is elegant and beautiful, as you can see. Okay, I just get this here. Number three, this is easy to maintain. Okay, let me just go back to this example where I was changing form items to form client. Did you notice that I have made a change here, but it really didn't affect the rest of the code? So if you think about that, okay, that is actually, what can I say, what we are supposed to do, even with complex things. Okay, you are supposed to know that I am declaring this here and I'm exporting this here. So if I can change it here and change it here, then we are back to the same state. So meaning that we were not going to have a lot of errors and bugs as developers. Okay, so I'm still in the architecture. I've created this high order component to supply me with the utilities. Okay, now I've got one source of truth when it comes to utilities. I don't have them plugged in different places in my code. Once I get these utilities, okay, as you can see, this create is coming from my library, which is metfetch. Okay, I'm not going to dive deep into that. Okay, that is story for another day. So this toast, it's coming from ShadCN, image reset from my own library, again, another one which is metforms. Okay, so I hope you do get what's going on here. Okay, so this is always at the top because we are going to need this as we continue. And then this one, I'm creating a form schema. As you can see, this is a React hook form. You must create a form schema. I'm creating a type. I'm inferring from this form schema so that I can get this type. And then I'm creating, this is React hook form still. I'm creating form methods, okay? These are form methods. This is still React hook form, okay? And then I've got const form submit, okay? Let's get into the architecture right here, okay? Let's look at how I name things, okay? Let's look at how I name things. First of all, let's start with this component. Why this component, it's not named like client form? Since we're dealing with client, why it's not named at client or whatever? It has been general simply because it's going to pass through the high order component, okay? It's not complete. It needs these utilities, so it has to pass through a high order component so that when it comes out as a different guy. And now it can be called form at client, but not here because this guy doesn't have much. Okay, my apologies about that. Let's go back here. That is it clean code or is it architecture? Let's see. Let's see. These things are not easy, guys, okay? It's not easy. Maybe I might forward slash get into clean code and then think of it as architecture. But I think I've already told you that it's not easy. There is a thin line between these things, okay? It's a chicken and an egg situation. You don't know is the chicken older than an egg or the egg was here before the chicken, okay? So sometimes I might overlap and talk about clean code, referring to it as architecture. So please, guys, understand, okay? But I hope you are following, okay? If you not, just shoot a comment below. And also, if you do, just shoot a comment below. Okay, so let's continue, guys. Okay, so as you can see, why I am naming things this way, it's simply because I'm thinking about the dev experience, okay? So I've named it this for the sake of that, okay? Now let's continue, guys. And what is that? Remember, I said this is not complete. It's only complete when it passes through a high order component. Now I've got form here. I've got form submit. I've got form mutation. Suppose I've got form type, I've got form schema. Why? Simply because what is important here, it's a form. Naming things that way make things easier for me, and I name things like this in my entire application. Okay. You won't find a form, let's say item schema or client schema. No, this is just a form. Okay. So when I want to search something, I will just type here form. Okay. As you can see, I can go to the form schema. So now this gives me a strategy, a template to work from. If I'm going to create a page, I know that I need a form schema, I need a form method, I need a form type, I need a form submit. So as you can see, now it looks like I have memorized everything. No, 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 I have not memorized everything. It's about thinking, it's about taking into consideration systems thinking, okay, thinking about the totality of how things are going to work. Not only say, I've got the best tech stack, but how is that going to work? So I'm trying to say, um, also how I name things, okay? It's some sort of part of clean code, which might, I think it has got a direct impact to the architecture, okay? And then let's continue, guys, okay? That was React Hook Form, as you can see. So now I want us to tackle the glue. How do these pieces, different pieces of technologies, work well together? My point is about that. When we get into the form mutation, that is React query, okay? So as you can see now on React query, we are starting to pass endpoints, okay? Using this create. Remember I said I've got a met fetch behind the scene that supplies that with this create method, okay? So now that we are here on React query, we've got form mutation, okay? Now we are diving deep into the glue. We've got form mutation here. Where are we using a form mutation? Okay, let's see. This is form mutation. Okay, so it uses use mutation. Okay, so this guy, this form mutation, this variable, it has got a lot of things. Okay, let me show you how are we using some of its parts to interact with the rest of the application. Okay, this is React query. Okay, so as I am clicking, okay, adding a customer, when I am busy processing, I am not expecting a customer to come and change something here. So this needs to be a read only. Okay, read only of this must be set to true so that I cannot delete it while this guy is busy. As you can see, that will be inconsistent, okay, because you will change this while you are saying I have saved a different one, okay? So which piece of technology is going to interact with this input in order to facilitate that? Let me show you. React query offers us on form mutation. It has got some sort of is pending, meaning that is pending is telling you that it's still processing. So if it's still processing, then this will be a read only. So that's why you see read only here is equal to is pending. Okay. Form is loading. Also, when the form is loading, it means that React query it's busy working behind the scene. Okay, it's working behind the scene trying to save the data. Okay, so this is the glue. This state, this boolean, it's a glue between the React hook form, which is the form component, and React query. So as you can see, guys, it's not about the tech stack, but it's understanding all these pieces of technology and how they are going to work well together. And when you click here, we've got a loading spinner here. Okay. Let me go to my own component, which is its loading that I have created, which I always use. Okay, as you can see here is that form is loading. This form needs a Boolean value. Okay, this form needs a Boolean value And this Boolean value, we are taking it from form is loading. Okay. You know, form is loading. It's like React query is pending. Okay. So now when I push this Boolean value inside a loading spinner, it creates this effect. Let me just show you. Let's go to code. As you see this, but in this case, the is loading Boolean value comes from React query. Okay. React query, which is pending. That means is React query busy fetching something from the API or from the backend? If you look at this, it makes sense. It's true because okay, this makes sense because React query, when this is loading React query, it's busy. So not only React query feeds the React hook form input, it also feeds what? Okay, it also feed the is loading component, or it's being used to determine if are we loading or we are not loading. We are gluing these pieces together so that they can work harmoniously. Okay, and that in total creates a beautiful architecture. I am Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. If you might want to support me, please check the link in the description below. I've got these courses: React Advanced Component Composition and Next.js Shadsi and UI TypeScript. In case you don't have the means to support me financially, I've got you back. I've got you covered. These courses have got some 70% of content, like worth of knowledge that you can learn, and I have reserved only 30% for you to pay, so you can come here and also learn as well. Okay, so please guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Okay, so I hope this video, it has given you some sort of a different angle to look at architecture, in a way that will help you to move forward, instead of looking at it as sophisticated and complicated IT terms and servers and. So stick with me. I'll make you famous. I'll take you places to see different faces. I've been in South Africa for my entire life. I hardly even move between provinces in South Africa. Now, I don't know if I claim I'm going to take you to different places to see different faces. I'm not sure if that's true. But however, in terms of the concept, in terms of conceptually, I can take you there. I want to I want to help you transition from this way of thinking to this way of thinking. Okay. I'm trying to help you with your consciousness. I want you to elevate your consciousness, to see things from a different perspective, hoping that one day you will understand it and work hard to get a job, to create your own startup, and maybe you never know. Maybe tomorrow I might meet you in the mall or somewhere in United States, Japan, or even Nigeria, and then you will say, "Thank you, Matthew, for helping me with the YouTube channel." Now I'm traveling the world. I'm seeing different faces because of the knowledge that you have given me. I am Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. Please check the link in the description below to more of my courses. In case you don't know, I've got also another coding channel, which is coded UI as UWI. Let's see. And then here I teach people Figma, okay? Because at the same time, I'm the best of both worlds, a graphic designer and a developer. See you on the next one.